All right, there we go. Hello everyone, how's it going? Team here, and this is BxJS livestream. We are continuing with Deno. So last time we tried to build the platform, or investigate the possibility of doing platform as a service, I guess. And we ended up building the platform as a service plugin that, well, didn't actually do anything, right? Because we actually replicated the default plugin or the test plugin they had. And while digging around Deno later on, I found out that actually they have a proper example of a plugin right there in the folder. It's just not mentioned anywhere in the docs. So if you are watching this and were confused, then you can actually see the proper plugin working without all the struggles. And then I went on to talk to the Deno development team, like the core team. They have this nice Gitter web chat where you can just talk to them. And I asked them whether what I did was, makes any sense or if it's planned. And actually ended up, after some talk, ended up forking Deno and doing, where the hell was it? And actually doing, well, two things. One, I actually submitted the pull request to the Deno to try and figure out how it works, to get acquainted to the code, which was nice and everything. And the second thing I did was I've created, where the hell, wait a second. Really, no, what? Was that the, oh, I'm on the wrong repo, right, okay. Apologies. So what I did, I created this Deno worker branch that I spent actually quite some time doing that, but let me just demonstrate what this actually does. Git. We want open changes. No, that's not what I want, right? So here's the deal. Basically, I created a separate op, as they call it here, right? So right now, those ops are all sort of bundled, or I guess. So basically, right now, it's a bit of all over the place. So ops consist of multiple files. One of them is this Rust file that actually defines what the op does within the Rust side of the Deno. Then you got the JavaScript side that, where was it? Wait a second, or was it TypeScript side? We got the Deno worker. So you got the TypeScript side, or JavaScript side if you prefer, which basically defines the JavaScript interface for that op. And then there's basically all the glue code around that integrates it into the way it actually works. So you use this dispatcher that Deno provides to actually send action sync with args and module that you provide basically in this case. And then you have to implement some sort of interface, class, extended, and all, so on and so forth, right? So in this case, I created this very basic op that's, well, essentially just spinned up the module with given args and given module. And what I did within it is I basically took the existing implementation of create worker and state, which creates the main thread with a thread safe global state. This is exactly what happens when you do Deno run. And I just adapted it to run, instead of running with the main, as a main thing, I adapted it to run in a separate isolate, which is exactly how the normal workers do. So it still bootstraps the main environment, it still executes the things that you would expect it to, but then instead of running on Tokyo main thread, it just spawns as the separate future, which basically does the whole thing, right? Which it actually worked. So I managed to create this test thing, which passes the welcome TS, and this actually creates the worker. So if you can see here the codes, it calls the global this.deno worker, which I guess probably would be better to expose this as deno.deno worker or something. But it does work. It does spawn additional isolate, and it does exactly what I wanted it. There's two problems. Problem number one, this is all very hacky, and this is essentially extending the core of Deno to figure, basically with things that shouldn't really be there. And the second thing, once I implemented that, okay, here's another reason. So why I implemented this as a fork of Deno is because there's a bunch of APIs that are currently private that you cannot use in the plugins. So even if I would, try to do that within the plugin like we did last time, it actually wouldn't work because there's a bunch of things that are used that are not currently exposed to anywhere else but the Deno core itself. So they're completely private. You cannot access them in any way. I think they're planning to change that, but I'm not sure. So basically my question when I came to the Deno chat was like, hey guys, are you actually planning to expose that? And they were like, well, we're actually planning to expose the Deno workers in the way that you just coded. You know, I was like, okay, a lot of wasted time, but that's a good news. So essentially, once the roadmap advances and once the Deno core team essentially exposes the Deno workers in a way that I've talked about, we would be able to spawn the workers based on isolate, so not, you know, the whole Deno processor or whatever, in a nice manner with a nice JavaScript, TypeScript API, which is kind of great. So for now, I'll just leave my fork alone because, again, you know, it was a nice exercise in trying to figure out how the hell this Deno works and what exactly you do with that. But apparently it was pretty much a waste of time. Well, on the other hand, you know, I did a pull request to Deno with minor changes and they have been shipped, which is, I guess, a nice plus for me. Okay, anyway, coming back to our platform as a service project, I'm just pondering what should we do today, because as I said, you know, there's no point in sort of continuing it for now, at least the whole like Deno isolate worker thing, because workers are not finished. This was one of the takeaways as well. So the workers, web workers that the Deno has, they are work in progress right now. This is why there was so many issues with them last time. And again, we just have to wait until they're more stable and we can use them. And then the Deno isolate workers, again, this is something that is planned, so I don't see any reason to actually try and implement this myself. And, you know, again, no reason to do that within the plugin. So I've been thinking we could actually try to start the other side of it, right? So the platform as a service is basically something like Exaframe, right? But Exaframe does allow you to execute. So you have a way to deploy simple scripts in a fashion that the function as a service or platform as a service will allow you to for a specific thing. So in this case, it's like a simple server. Let me try that again. Simple server, right? It takes in a code and just runs it on a given trigger, right? So we can do the same. So essentially, we could set up the infrastructure for it, and once the Deno guys finish it, the whole worker and, you know, Deno workers thing, then we can extend it to actually run the code. And for now, we can do the runners in naive like spawn process way. Hey guys, welcome to the stream. Okay, so I've been thinking, you know, let's try building the server itself first. So let's try building a REST API with authentication and authorization in Deno. For that, I'm still going to use the same Deno PaaS repository that we had, but I'm just going to create a new branch called plugin. Let's call it Deno plugin to be specific, and I'm going to push it origin Deno plugin. So I'm just going to push it online so that the code is somewhere not lost. And then we'll just switch to master and try to actually build a Deno server. Yeah, wise indeed. I haven't seen you in quite a while. Happy to see you join us. Okay, so I'm gonna kill the plugin. Do we actually need the makefile? That takes a while. I guess there was some compiled stuff in there. Okay, so we can remove some ops, we can remove test. And we can see what do we have here. So right, dynamic import. Yeah, okay, so I can describe this a bit in a few minutes. That's fine. Makefile. So we don't need builds for now. We just need run. Deno allow plugins. We don't need allow plugins anymore. We can just do Deno main TS for now and then can tweak it later on. Hey, let me try that again. Hey, major malfunction. This is Windows Terminal Preview, so you can get it right now. It's like an official Microsoft thing. It's just still in preview and not released yet for everyone, but you can grab it on GitHub. It is amazing and works really, really well. Quite highly recommended. All right, so we are going to be trying to build a server. Let's start by figuring out what kind of library we can actually use. So let's see. server. So we had Oak, if I remember correctly. This is what we used last time. I see HTTP. There was something else, a routing library. So there was a simple routing library. Maybe this is enough for us. And there was probably as well something called web, right? So there's ABC, there is Allosaur, and there's Fen. Okay, so we got quite a few. Let's go to the repositories and try to figure out which ones of them are most active, I guess. So the Oak has 372 stars, 74 commits, 7 contributors, and was updated yesterday, which is pretty great. So who are the contributors? We got, I think he's also the contributor to Deno, yes. So this is one of the core contributors to Deno, which is always a good thing to have. Then we got Reno. So this is just the routing library, which might be, okay, this is like pattern matching, but not really pattern matching, which, yeah, I would prefer like a proper HTTP library. Okay, we got ABC, which has 146 stars. It was updated 12 days ago and has 4 contributors, so this one is winning, so we're going to kill that. We got Allosaur, which is the framework with many decorators. Okay, so this is like very object-oriented. I already don't like that. I'm going to close this. And we got Deno-Fen, a simple framework, which was updated 11 months ago. That has been quite a while. Thank you, Lemchi, for your subscription. Yes, and thanks. Highly appreciate that. Okay, continuing to look at this stuff. Right, so this was basically, there's no other choice but Oak. I mean, Oak works. Why not? Well, let's just go with that, right? If I remember correctly, it took inspiration from the Core, which is a nice framework. I mean, I wouldn't say it's my favorite one. I still prefer the Fastify Express style. But yeah, that's pretty good. So let's just go with that. I think we already did the basic server, but let's just, yeah, we can just copy this thing, right? So let's just create main TS. We're going to do the TypeScript version because why the hell not? Still probably going to complain that we have the top level await. Okay, I'm going to kill the books. We got the router, we got the get. Just do the basic thing. Save that. Why are you complaining? Cannot end with TS extension. Okay, this is the TypeScript. It's still kind of weird that the TypeScript complains about the Deno stuff. I'm not sure. Not sure why, but you know what? Whatever. Let's just gonna ignore that for now. All right, so theoretically that should work. And if we run Deno main TS, that should... Okay, first of all, it will tell us that I won't work because I forgot the allow net flag, right? Allow net, yes, there we go. So I'm just gonna throw it into the make file for now and do make run because it's just easier. It's gonna do make. There we go. So we are now live, which means we should get a server on localhost. Was it 8080? It was localhost 8000, right? So we got our thing here. There we go. So we got our server, we got our hello world. Now, what do we start with? I guess let's start with basic authentication. So let's create a source folder and say auth ts, right? And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna, I guess I'm just gonna grab this router from here and do export default router, right? So we're just gonna export this auth router. Let's rename it. It's gonna be a bit better, right? And then, so we got this, let's call it home router. So it's just gonna be our, let's just call it our home router. It's basically just gonna serve this one thing. And what we need to do is we need to import our auth router, right? From source auth ts. That's one thing that I should not forget. Whoops. Right. I should not. First of all, I should not forget to use it actually. So we go routes and whoops. We go allowed methods. Okay, cool. One, like I keep forgetting to use the extensions because I'm so used to the Node.js way of that, where you just, you know, why is it not? I guess prettier doesn't work for. Is my prettier broken or what? Prettier and blah blah blah, TypeScript React. So that should work, right? Oh, I guess it doesn't work because it has await. Is that why? Is the top level await what breaks the prettier right now? No, it doesn't. Okay, so it doesn't replace things for formats. Deno run command. What? Why are you? I'm sorry. What? What was the error? Wait a second. What happened? I'm guessing there is. I mean, we should theoretically be able to use Deno-FMT, right? Okay, and okay, so this, in this case, it actually uses the double quotes, which is perfectly fine. New emote. I mean, I'm still waiting for the artist who I commissioned to do the awesome avatar that I have in the background image to do the emotes for me. So they are coming to Discord server and to Twitch channel at some point. But anyway, I'm wondering if there is a way to configure, wait a second, Deno. So I would want to, okay, yeah, this is Deno enabled. Basically, Deno has the Deno format command integrated into it, right? Then it just go away. So there should be some way, wait a second, Deno, yes. Auto format and save, yes, please. Okay, cool, let's see. Let's see if that actually does Deno format. Save, no it doesn't, I guess, because the prettier is on. Prettier, no create config file. I guess we should disable prettier first. Okay, that's a bit annoying. Disable for workspace. There we go. Reload required. I guess they just conflict probably, right? So this is, I'm guessing that's what happens. No? That doesn't seem to work as well. Interesting. Okay, you know what? That's not a big deal. We could, I mean, I could probably just do... Okay, we keep the run at the top. Format is going to be Deno FMT. And I'm just going to do that, right? Because all we have in this repo right now is our files. Formatted 0 files. I guess it doesn't support globs. That is a bit annoying, but okay. Can I do that? Will you work? 1 file. Okay, only main TS. Will that work? No, 0. Okay, so I guess you have to. Okay, so well, that's not very good, but okay. There's a bunch of issues actually open for the glob supports, including into I think Deno format and Deno or was it fetch? So it's probably gonna get there at some point, but okay, for now that's fine. All right, so we set up this thing. We set up the auth routes, home routes. And let us implement some basic authentication, right? So we're going to have a method login, and it's going to be a post, and we're going to have a method register. Now, here's the question. Okay, like for now, I'm just going to leave it at that. Here's the question. So we cannot really use Node.js modules here, right? Because they are not compatible with Deno so long as they actually use something non-standard. But we can actually use browser modules that are ES modules because we can just import them, right? So let me think. ES module, I want to Google. I want an ES module that is some database. I remember having like SQLite compiled or something. Let me think for a second. Maybe we could just go with like browser JS module database. Yeah, maybe some browser-based DB like PouchDB or something. Browserify key value storage. I mean, there's like we probably does Deno has what do you call it? Like local storage or something. Is that a thing? We'll be very curious to see that. So they claim that they basically aim to be like 100% compatible with the browser. So the question is, IO my node standards, blah blah blah. Okay, here's the question. Let's see. What do you call it? Like local storage. Like this is the stupidest way of doing it, right? Issues. Okay, so I guess it's not there yet. Right, okay, so we don't really have anything like that. Do we have... So this is for some reason closed. Implement in-memory file system, key value storage. So this is, yeah, so I would want something like this essentially, which is super convenient, like IndexedDB or whatever. Okay, so this was suspended. This is why it's closed. This is a work in progress. I guess it was stale and never finished. Okay, well, web storage APIs. Okay, so basically web storage is not yet in Deno, which is a bit annoying, but it's fine. We could do ES modules registry. I remember there was some sort of a registry that just, yeah, there we go. There's one. There was something else with that. ES module loader. Okay, we can start with JSPM, package manager. You have search for packages, introduction, React. Is it just literally proxies the all browsers support ES6, not for production? That's perfectly fine with us. Babel. Okay. Right, so it seems like it's literally just proxies the npm, which means that any package that would work in the browser should also work for us, but that's again, let me think. JS, SQLite. There was a WebAssembly implementation of SQLite, wasn't there? Which means that it's probably gonna work. SQLite to WebAssembly, blah blah blah. Okay, yeah. Can we do JSPM? No, PM. What was the URL format? Dev JSPM slash. Okay, SQL.js. Would that work? Right, okay, so that's actually JSPM core node leaves empty path. Okay, so it does rely on a bunch of Node.js libraries, which is not something we actually want in this case. But I mean, you know what? We could create our own super stupid database, because why not? Let's do that. Let's just start with in-memory version, right? So it's gonna be like DB. That's our database done. Export defaults DB. Okay. So that, you know, we don't waste too much time doing that. We could basically dump JSON to the file later on and restore it from file on save and reload. That would be sufficient for now, at least. Right, okay, so let's go with the registration context. Okay, so first of all, where's Oak? I want body. So how do you, I guess, context request body or something? Has body, headers, blah, 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 body. Okay, method resolves the parsed version of request body. Is that a method on request? Context request. Okay, so const data is context request body, right? There we go. And in this case, we're going to get login and we're going to get passwords. And what we're going to do is we're going to import db from dbts. Yes, please. And now we're going to say, okay, db. Okay, so we need a bit more structure to our database. Let's call it accounts. It's going to be empty array. And what we're going to do is we're going to say accounts push login. And we need hashed password. I remember seeing some sort of hashing thing in the Deno third-party things. So hash password, and then password is going to be hashed passwords, right? Now we need that hash thing. There was the Deno third-party modules. There we go. Hash. So we got what? We got... Okay, that is a lot of fancy mechanisms there. SHA. There was the Blake thing as well, right? Yeah, Blake. If I remember correctly, Blake2b is the... Was it the password hashing thing? Blake2b. Let us Google, because I don't remember. Hash function. Blake to be algorithm, Blake to be net. Hash SHA, MD5. Password hashing. Okay, so we actually want a different one. Okay, so let's see. What do we have here? Whoops. Hash. Do not, if no, do not use convenience for SHA1 to 56. Murmur hash 3. Which one do we want actually? So there's Argon 2. Do we have an Argon 2 for browser implementation? So Argon 2 JS browser. There's gotta be something, right? There we go. Okay, Argon 2 library compiled for the browser runtime. It's a WASM library, which means that we likely can use it. Password, ASD, salt 1 to 3, memory, blah, 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 run WebAssembly. Salt is too short. Okay, I guess you want like, I don't know, 10 symbols or something. There we go. Okay, cool. Nice. Okay, so how do we... is it published on... Argon browser npm. I guess we could use npm as well to install it, but I would rather just pull it from the web. Here's a question: what do they have here? Build WASM. I guess it won't be here. So what if we have like npkg.com/. So what's it called? Argon browser, right? Or something. Yeah, Argon 2 browser. Okay. I wonder if that will actually work. I mean, in theory, you know, if it's compatible with a browser, we should be able to use it. So let's navigate that. Come on. Guess nobody ever tried to pull that, so we're gonna see that. Come on. GS. Let's try GSPM. Maybe that works as well. So okay, so we got that. Oh, there we go. Rate exceeded. What do you mean rate exceeded? Oh no, PKG is broken. Okay, so if we do that, and if we do this, how does this? It still seems too interesting. So it's still, I guess it's their own polyfills. Is that how it works? You know what? Let's just try importing that. Why not? So we say, okay, import from. Okay, so we do that and we import Argon 2. If I do console log Argon, no, not assert, Argon 2. And now we're just gonna do Deno source auth ts. And internal server error. Okay, I guess, wait. That is a problem with JSPM, not my code. Right, this is a bit annoying. The fact that there is no like single registry makes it a lot harder to work, you know, with existing things. I guess we could just go with, you know, npm init and then just do npm install Argon 2 browser, right? So theoretically that should install it and we should be able to actually use it. So where's my node modules? I'm sorry, what? There's the node modules. So for whatever reason, they're not shown. Okay. I mean, I can live without that. So let's see. Imports Argon 2 from... no, right. Oh, whoops. No. What? Okay. That is not what I wanted to type, but that's fine. There we go. Node modules, Argon 2 browser, dist Argon 2 JS, right, is what we want. Hey, oh my shell, welcome to the stream. All right, let's see if that actually compiles. I am kind of curious. So, blah, blah, blah. Import. Okay, so it tries to import the node.js modules. First question is why it tries to do that? Because it shouldn't it supposed to be like browser version of library? Whoops. Oh, I guess it's like the universal module. Yeah, okay, that is. But I see the, wait a second, I saw the WebAssembly thing there, right? yeah, so we got the wasm file, which obviously is a binary, so whatever. We could try to just run the wasm file. So let me think. Deno-wasm. Let's actually see how do you run a WebAssembly in Deno. Blah blah blah. Wasm trim WebAssembly. Okay, so we compile. We have to read it manually, or is there a way to load it? Let's just try searching for wasm. There's got to be some test or something that covers that, right? Come on, it's so obvious. There we go, test wasm. Wasm imports, there we go. Okay, add imported, add remotes. Sort equal, okay, so you can import stuff directly from WebAssembly if you know what it exports. Let's try that. I don't know, can I import the whole damn thing? Will that work? Relative import path env not prefixed with blah blah imported from wait, WebAssembly tries to import something else? Okay, I guess that won't fly. You know what? Again, I don't want to waste too much time trying to find the perfect library for hashing, so we might as well just pick I don't know, cryptographic hash like zip hash or something. It will probably work fine for us, right? So there we go, zip hash from that. And I guess it just put it somewhere here. And then we just do zip hash 24. What does it take? Key, okay, message, key, Mac. Right, so let's do that. So we got a key. I don't think, what is this encode function from? Okay, sure, we could do that. All right. How old I am? Man, you are asking hard questions. 33, I think. Probably, maybe. Okay, right, you know what, let's just copy the whole thing. But we don't really need to decode. We are fine with one way. You know what, we just take the hash. You know what, let's just go with like the stupidest SHA to 512, which is, I know, not the safest bet, but whatever. I can live with that. So we can go with this. Okay. Mac password, we don't need that anymore. And now it's gonna be, yeah, so there we go. So SHA12 key. Okay, so we need some sort of a key. Secure key. It's gonna be very secure. Right, so secure key. Message is gonna be passwords. And I probably should abstract that into a hash function. So passwords, ta-da, done, okay. And we just hash password, right? And then we just store that. So you want me to format it like this, right? No, what? Login does not exist. Oh, okay, so it just doesn't, it's TypeScript stuff. All right. You look younger. I found you from YouTube. You are epic. Thank you for sharing knowledge. Well, I mean, very welcome. I enjoy doing those kind of streams. So, you know, really glad to hear that you like my stuff. So, context response body. Let's just, I guess, just say success. I guess we could just send back the login and then say success true, right? So something like this. Now here's the thing, we have that and it theoretically should register. We could also build the login. No, we want this. But here in this case we want, so we hash the password and then find account so that account login equals login and account password equals hashed password, right? Const existing accounts, and if existing account is indeed there, we send success. Otherwise, we send says false, error, wrong login or password, right? So that theoretically this should cover all the things that we want to do. If we do make, it's going to pull our functions. And now we, oh, whoa, what is going on? Okay, so it actually complains because there is no, okay, I guess you cannot, how, okay, TypeScript. Anyone knows TypeScript? How can I make this work properly? Can I just do like, would that work? No, it still complains the same way, right? So that's how property does not exist on promise body. Is that like the body here not what I think it is? Is it like a separate thing? Blah, blah, blah. Okay, let's have a look at the, there probably are tests, right? So we got a request test. Can I make a project where you write production-based code like at the job to prepare? I mean, I already did the building, like there was the 3 building courses that are on my YouTube. This is essentially what I did, right? So first one is like the CRUD app. The second one is the Electron app. And the third one is the sort of data ingestion pipeline. So if you don't think that's enough, then let me know. We can figure out something else, I guess. Okay, so let's see, mock body reader. So, body. So what do we get? Away. Oh, okay. Oh, it's a promise. I'm an idiot. Okay. Right. This is what it was trying to tell me. It's a damn promise. And it cannot deconstruct a promise, which makes perfect sense. Right. So, would that work? Password does not exist. Okay, so now it's... Would you work? No, you still complain about the same thing. Yes, Crunchyroll Electron is one thing. I think the very first course I did, the one, what do you call it? Building products with JavaScript. I think it was literally called that. Where I built the CRUD app was a lot more substantial with like a lot more backbone to it, you know, with testing and everything. Oh, so you get a type and you get a value. Okay, so I guess we get the value and then we can destruct the value into the log. There we go. Okay, this is what it wants to see. Okay, right. That should theoretically work. What can I do to make a code better for job search? I mean, are you just a junior developer? Then you make sure it's readable and nice, and basically you know what testing is, you know what Git is, and that's already better than like half of candidates. 8,000. Okay, so we need to send post request. How do you send the post request with curl? I can never remember this. Post.json, yes. Thank you very much. Okay, this looks good enough. Curl header application. Yeah. There we go. Okay. So we want register passwords. Okay, you know what? I'm just gonna break that. New. Okay, so we application JSON post. We want, what did we use? Login, I think, right? Login is gonna be test. Password is gonna be 1 to 3. Send it to register. Okay, we're gonna use curl as our testing thing. We just increased the size and failed. Oh, right, because the port is wrong. 8,000 and come on. There we go. So it actually. Login test, success true, so we succeeded. Let's try logging in using our data, right? So theoretically that should work as well. Right, it does. And if we type a wrong password, there you go. Okay, so it actually was a lot easier than I thought it would be, but our basic auth system works quite okay. Fresh graduate, I know Git, React, Vue, Electron, and all the regular stuff. That's more than sufficient to get the junior role. So like just, you know, send out your CV, look for the job, and find a company that basically picks you up. Because it does take quite a bit of time to find the people who would choose you in the same way you choose them, you know. Okay, now here's another deal. Curl is great and all, but that's not really convenient, right? So I know that Deno has, first of all, let's just commit that. Okay, git, oh, whoa, I'm in the wrong folder. Projects, BxJS gonna pass, there we go. Right, first of all, we don't need node modules. We don't need package. We don't need package JSON. Okay, cool, that looks fine. Basic REST API with login registration. All right, so that will do. Now let us add some tests, because manually testing it with curl is not exactly the best approach, right? Let's have a look. I think that, so one of the cool parts about Deno was that sort of it has all-in-one tooling, and I think it comes with testing framework integrated. Do you have time for code review? Depending on the size of code, just, you know, join our Discord server, send it my way. If I got time, I'll just have a look. And I mean, I will definitely tell you what I think overall. If I have more time, I'll basically give you a more detailed overview. So that's always happy to help. Okay, let's see, testing and tools. There we go. Cargo, no, that's cargo test, right? So I want Deno tests. Where is manual? I know that there is Deno test, but Deno test, yes. So how does it work? Test, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so there's our tests. All right, so we got the testing framework. Sure. Let's do that. Okay, so we can run if main. Okay, we don't need to. Do we need to? What is this run if main? What does this do? Link into third-party codes. We saw the Deno. Deno signal. Okay, handle as signals. Deno running tests. Okay. Short run tests. Test. Okay, how the hell? Okay, so if I just save that, what do I? Deno test. Okay, so this downloads the testing framework, which okay, allow env. Sure, there you go. Write access. Okay, allow write. Right, okay, so it's allow net. All right, because it also wants the net stuff. It actually found them and executed them. Cool, that is pretty great. What sparked your interest in Deno? Well, first of all, it's the next project of Ryan Dahl, who did the original Node.js, and it sort of is pitched as the logical evolution for Node.js, which, you know, after playing around with it, makes perfect sense. So I guess this was the primary reason for it, and it looks like it looks great so far. I cannot, like, looking at that, I cannot wait for it to mature enough to use it instead of what I use Node.js now for, right? Because there's like so much cool tooling in it and so much cool ideas, and so little overhead in comparison to Node.js. Like, this is one of probably the killer features. Okay, so how do I test it? Create mock server, create mock server request, URL body header. Okay, so this is respond body. Okay, request, new requests. No, okay, this is how do I test? Is there like a request test? Can I get, is there like a testing section for Oak router? I mean, I guess I could just test the router itself, right? But that sounds silly. Like, this is again one of the parts that I really like about, for example, Fastify, that it basically comes with pre-baked testing tooling, right? That you don't have to invent anything. But let's see. So how do we test the router? Empty routes, setup, context next, router routes, await, MV, context next, undefined. So what is the setup function? Setup function is path and method, creates mock app, creates context and creates mock next, whatever that is. So mock next is just a sync next function. Mock context is an object that is app request, response, and state. So, okay, this is empty, router get context, router routes. What is this? Okay, I mean, let's try doing that, I guess. So, okay, so we don't care about this, I think, because it doesn't, I think it doesn't matter if we have it or not. Yep, that works perfectly fine. Let me just copy this into the make file. Okay, so now we can just do make test. Right, and now what we want to do is import our auth router from, so I should start using auth.js, right? And now we need to, so consts, they use this MV thing, right? So it was, it is a tab, yeah, so we kind of want the same thing. Okay, so this setup thing, we want, I wish they exposed that as a utility so that you don't have to basically copy paste and rewrite the whole damn thing. Whole stack, I don't really care. Oh, man, how do I do this properly? I could obviously extract those functions from router and expose them. I guess maybe that will be a lot easier to test this way, because we don't really care about the router itself rather than the functions, right? Yeah, it's, I wish to write the, like, I tend to write the integration tests a lot more than anything else. But in this case, it might be easier to write a small unit tests. Okay, so we're gonna export the router, and then I'm gonna create two functions that are also gonna be exported and are gonna be used in the router so that we can actually test them, which again, I would prefer to write integration tests, but we're gonna work with whatever we have. Okay. Let me do Deno fmt source star. There you go. Okay, cool. Right, I should export. We need to rewrite the main, so it should be like this now. There we go. Which means that in our test, we can now OSTS, right? So we can now import login and register. And one test is going to be login. The other test, I guess the first one should actually be register and the other one should be login. Okay, and what we have to do is, so our function is taken in the context that has request body. Okay, so register, let's call it register test because otherwise it's going to foreshadow our register function and nothing's going to work, which is going to be unfortunate. Test context, so let's construct our test context. And we're going to await that. And yeah, right, that's going to be a sync, right? This is also needs to be a sync. And then we need to assert equals test context. So we need to assert that basically response body is equals, yep, okay. And then we can do login, let's call it test login, whoops, test login test. Test login. Yes, absolutely. Do suggest the project ideas. As I said, you know, feel free to join our Discord server and just chat there. Like, people always throw around the things they would be interested in seeing me doing, essentially. So I'm open to that. So response and body is gonna be this. Now, what do we need to fake here? We need to say that the request body is a function. Okay, request body is a function, a sync function actually, right? that returns a login, which is a test login, password, which is a test password. Okay, we need to create some test passwords. 1 of 3. I'm gonna be very creative here. So, do we need anything else? So we did DB. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, that seems like that should work, and then we can do exactly the same thing with login, but instead of calling register, we can just call login here. And that should theoretically be it. Make test. No, can I read property login of undefined? What did I do wrong? So, oh, value, right? So it should return, right. I forgot, so that should be value, and then we should have our proper body. There we go. So this should fix it, right? Okay, cool. There we go. We've added some tests, and they actually work. Let us format everything. No, okay. Oh, sorry. That should be TS, right? There we go. Format it. Git commits at basic auth tests. So cool. So we've added very basic authentication. Now here's the deal, right? We need some protected routes, I guess. I'm also not convinced that this is a good way of doing that. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to change the auth a bit. We don't need that anymore. And instead of doing the whole router thing, whoops, that is too much. Instead of doing the whole router thing, so I'm just going to take this and I'm going to say export const setup. It's going to take router and then just going to basically apply our methods to it and return a router, right? So let us fmt everything. There we go. Okay, which means that we're going to get the setup. Let's call it setup auth to be a bit more distinct, right? And instead of doing that, so we're going to have only one router now. Right, and instead of doing that, I'm just going to say, okay, set up auth router, and then we're going to set up gets, right? So I think that should work. Right, I'm already running it in a different thing. So let me just run my curl commands. Come on, I know you are somewhere here. There we go. There's our login. That's, yeah, okay, so it works perfectly fine. Cool. Git commit refactor to have only one router. Now, let me see the chat. Is VSL processor and RAM heavy? No, not much. I mean, so basically the core bottleneck of the VSL right now is the Defender, because it tends to scan literally every file you work with, including, you know, npm install or whatever you run. So all those packages are going to go through the Windows Defender, which makes it incredibly slow. And if you disable it, for example, and if you whitelist everything, it's actually quite bearable. Hey Memphis, welcome to the stream. Commander is not bad. I personally still like the Windows terminal preview a lot more because it's just super sleek and awesome. But okay, anyway, so here's what I was going to say. We need a middleware so that we can create a protected route, right? Which means that we actually need to not just return something, but set like cookies or whatever. So let me think for a sec. I mean, I guess in this case we can just tell whatever with cookies. Let's just return some sort of a token. Is there a JSON web token thing for Deno? We have a JVT. Yes, we do. So cool. So we can just basically generate the JSON web token and send it back to our client, right, on the login. Set expiration date. Right, make JVT. So I think this is what we want, right? We're gonna expand our authentication a bit more. Okay, that's probably not gonna fly, right? I'm gonna copy the whole thing here. So what do we have here? We need this stuff: key, claims, set expiration. Okay, so you have to set expiration as the parameter here. Now, what is it by default, actually, if you don't set it? Set expiration, specific date, 1 hour from now. Payload, and additionally, there's we simplifies expiring date. Optional explain expiration date, but not expected. This library checks if. Okay, so I guess you can just omit that. In our case, that's perfectly fine. You can just say we don't care about expiration for now, at least. Okay, we got the header. We got this. Okay, JVT header claim. Then we got encode, whatever that is. And then we got validate. Whoops. So this is basically two things we care about. Da-da-da, where's our login? There is our login. If it exists, then we do the JVT header claims. So claims is our login, right? And I think that's basically it. Key is, yeah, let's just call it JVT key. So it's going to be JVT key. That is fine. And then this one, I'm just going to keep it here. Validate request. Whoops. JVT key false. Okay, so this is what we want to do. We do want the header. I guess I should rename the header to JVT header. Okay, so here we got, okay, this is hashing. Let's just comment a bit. This is JVT config. All right. Right, so we send the JVT. Right, I need to send it. JVT. Okay, now first of all, it's going to break our tests because there is going to be a thing. So yeah, so we need to basically parse. We need to parse the response and then just assert the JSON parse. Okay, need to parse the body, right? And then basically say that result login is equal. Yeah, that's actually quite much cleaner. I probably should have done this from the beginning. So this is one, and the second one is gonna be success, supposed to be true. There we go. That's a lot nicer. We should do that here as well, because why not? Okay, and just do that. So that's gonna make our tests a bit nicer. Right, okay, make test. No, come on, make test. Are we still working? Nope. Oh, right, okay, because it cannot validate it. So let's do export const validate async request. Just gonna do that. Yeah, right, requests. There we go. Okay, so now the test should at least pass. Let me have a look at the chat. What is VSL? VSL is a Windows subsystem for Linux. It basically allows you to run the Ubuntu kernel, or it's not exactly kernel. It's actually the if you know Wine, which basically makes you run Windows apps on Linux by translating calls from Linux to Windows. No, the other way around. From Windows app into the Linux calls. VSL does the same, but for Windows. So it literally takes the Linux apps, runs them in a specific environment, and then translates the Linux calls into Windows calls. and like 99.5% of the software just works, including, you know, the Z shell, I don't know, node.js, Git, all of that stuff is running inside of Linux for me. And yes, it is absolutely awesome. And if you are developing this, it makes development on Windows 10 a lot nicer. Okay, I really should figure out how to run the formatting for Deno automatically, because something is not working here. But anyway, so we got the tests. Tests are now working, right? So we got the tests passing their work as expected. So we now have our validates. It also should be a middleware. So, okay, we don't need that. We need the middleware. No, we actually do need the JVT first. So we need what? Middleware router get. So the router produces middleware which can be used with an application. Does router support middleware or not? And I say, hey, apply this middleware only to a specific router. Is that a thing I could do? I guess not, right? Okay, you know what? That's fine. We could just we could do that. We could apply this router, right? So then we could apply middleware. So this context next, and in this case, we're gonna do that. So we're gonna get context request headers get. What is the header that you usually use for the authentication? Authentication header. Is it just authentication? Basic authentication. There we go. And that's what I want. Why is it so tiny? Authentication. Authorization. There we go. Basic. Yeah. So we want authorization header. So, and what we need to do is token is gonna be authorization replace. So we're gonna get remove bearer from it, right? With nothing. And then we need to, so we need our validate thing. This actually goes token. So what is the validate example used? Validate JVT, you give request body. Okay, so I guess this is a string, right? I guess we can just return token JVT. Yep, that looks fine. Okay, so set up both. Validate, yeah, let's call it validate JVT and validate token in this case, right? And in this case, we're gonna say const token valid awaits validate token here. So if token is valid, we're gonna do next. Otherwise, how do we interrupt the chain? So what if we, I guess we can just return that context response body JSON stringify error not authorized. I assume this is how it works. So, and then we're gonna create another router, right? Let's call it protected router. And then protected router gets protected. And then it's just gonna say, no, wait, I am doing the wrong thing. I'm just gonna copy this. Paste it here, and it's going to be hello protected route, right? And then we just need to plug it in after our protection, the middleware that authenticates basically. Okay, I have no idea how to test that with the current framework though. So I guess authorization middleware. And then we're just gonna go here, protected Routes. Do I play video games? Oh yes, I do. Pretty much daily. Okay, so we got that. Let me think. So make, gonna start that. It doesn't fail, that's a good sign. So we are gonna register first. Oh, you know what? We have to return the token on registration as well, right? Because otherwise, I mean, I guess we don't really have to, but so let's register. And then let's log in. So we should get our JVT. Cool, that actually works. Which means we need to send, let me think. So we need another header. Just gonna say authorization bearer. And then we're gonna put our token in there. And then it's gonna be get, I guess this case doesn't matter, and then it's going to be protected. So theoretically, if I didn't screw anything up, well, okay, I did screw something up. What is oh, because I forgot the slash. Okay, right. There we go. And not authorized. So something went wrong. Okay, let's try to figure out what went wrong. Okay, so it says not authorized. I guess I should return here. Maybe this is why it doesn't work. Maybe because I didn't return early. Is that the case? Yep, there we go. Cool. It actually works. Holy crap. That was easier than expected. Okay, so what do we have? Will the test, no, I didn't break the test. Okay. So, git add basic authorization middleware and protected routes. Okay, sign the commit. Right. I think that might be a good spot to stop for today. So we did, I mean, you know, the basic REST API with login, passwords, registration, authorization, and protected routes. Let's just, you know what? I'm kind of curious if the main route still works unprotected. It does. Okay, so this the same, basically the middleware works exactly the same way it does in Koa, Express, whatever, which is kind of good. Okay, so let's go. Like, it's a bit, on one hand, it's really great because, you know, it took us, like, what I like is that there is no node modules, nothing like that, right? The tooling is still, there's some problems. I should probably actually run Deno-fmt on everything. Git commit format code. Right, but it's a lot nicer to work with modules in this manner than with NPM. One downside so far was that, like, you know, there is a Deno land where you can search for third-party modules, but this catalog is tiny, especially in comparison to NPM, so it's not exactly convenient. Would be nice to have something like NPM, but for Deno, you know, with like a proper search UI and everything, but I'm guessing it's going to come at some point, because of course it is. In this case, you don't even have to host anything, because it's literally just a catalog of links and metadata, right? Which is kind of great. It's just, I'm guessing there's so little modules because the way you add them right now is you have to go to the GitHub, edit the database JSON, and submit a pull request, and there's like 4 pull requests open. I'm guessing some of them, no, actually they don't really add any packages, but anyway, you know, that's not exactly convenient. But yeah, it wasn't was a lot easier than expected. Testing framework works really nice out of the box. The fact that you literally just pull these assertions from the framework is awesome. Just, yeah, very easy. I wish Oak had like proper testing tooling integrated like the Fastify does, but you know, that's like integration tests. Not a big deal. Still kind of cool to see where it is. Hey Leonid, welcome to the stream. What? You are, I'm not sure, like, okay, you know what, whatever. Okay, right, so if you guys have any questions or suggestions, feel free to throw them into the chat right now. If not, we can just wrap it up here. There is gonna be a BxJS weekly hundreds episodes of the podcast this Saturday, so make sure not to miss that. There's going to be something happening. I still have no idea what, but I'm going to do something special for this occasion. Other than that, usually if you miss the stream, the VOD will be available on Twitch immediately or on YouTube in a few hours. We have a Discord where you can join and ask me questions and chat with us about JavaScript, TypeScript, Deno, node.js, whatever the hell you want, or maybe video games. And yeah, that's basically it. You are sick. Well, get well soon, mate. You know, second week already. Wow. Okay, that is tough. Can relate. I was sick just a few weeks ago, so this is not the most pleasant thing ever. So get well soon. All right. Anyway, doesn't seem like we got any more questions or suggestions, so I guess that will be it for today. I probably should actually update README. Meanwhile, like you can, you know, still think and send me your questions into the chat. I will edit the thing. So let me think. The worker didn't work. Still VIP in Deno. So use, okay, so I guess I just copy that, add it here. Let's add it from top down, that makes more sense. Deno native plugin, so didn't work, not enough public APIs. Deno, okay. Deno will expose Deno worker later on natively. Okay, so this sums it. Current approach, build the basic REST API with auth and everything first. Run code via processes. Migrate to isolates later. There we go. That's, I think, good enough. So we got the Deno end, we got native plugins, we got I probably should add, what did we use today? So we used what? We used Oak, we used DJVT, and we used I think that was it, right? Let me just link those, and that's basically it. So we had DJVT, we had Oak. Oh no, we used the hashing thing as well, right? So it was the HBAC, yes. There we go. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I guess you do need some sort of a command in Deno that would list all the used packages, right? Because it is a bit inconvenient that you have to go through the whole code to know what the specific project actually uses. DJVT lib for Deno DJVT. I guess it will be better to do it like this, right? Got that. We got Oak. Come on. The framework for Deno. And we used HBAC. Whoops, that's the wrong place. So I guess hashing lib for Deno. HBAC. There we go. Okay, cool. That's good enough, I think. Update README, and we are basically done for today. Is Deno viable for big projects? That depends. Like, I think it comes down to the ecosystem. If you don't need anything beyond what the core offers, then even at this point, it's already really stable and you can do some pretty cool things with it. If you do rely on nodes like, you know, NPM and all the crazy packages that are there in ecosystem, then you will have a hard time trying to replicate that within Deno. So yeah. Kind of miss your cats running in the background. Oh yeah, the new office doesn't have access to, or the cats don't have access to the new office. So they are no longer destroying my stuff. But we're probably gonna have a cat stream at some point, maybe for the 100th episode of the BxJS Weekly. You know, cats are always a good stream material. But okay, what? Okay, that was my wife throwing stuff at me. You know what? Cats are no longer running here, but now my wife just throwing stuff at me. Does that count? She's probably gonna murder me after I stop the stream. But anyway. All right, I think that's a good spot to wrap the whole thing up. Thank you guys very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the stream. I'll see you on a Saturday or next week for yet another stream. We're going to figure out how to continue with this. Have an awesome rest of the week, and I see you next time. Bye.